Hey guys, welcome back. So I know I don't do too many declutter videos. I do declutter my makeup quite a bit. I wouldn't say quite a bit, but probably like twice a year, maybe more than that. I don't really know. I don't really do it any specific way. It's just kind of if I'm using, like if I'm kind of going through my makeup collection and I'm like, I haven't used that in a while and I use it, and then if I'm just not super excited about it anymore, then I just declutter it. Like there's just no reason to keep it in my makeup collection if I know that I'm not going to use it, because it's just going to collect dust, and maybe one of my friends or somebody else I know might get better use out of it. So I thought that since I'm getting ready to film my makeup collection video for you guys, I had went through probably like a month or so ago and decluttered some things and had it over in a box, and I was getting ready to film my makeup collection, and I thought, you know, I should probably go ahead and film the things that I'm decluttering, just in case maybe you know I have these items in my collection and you're wondering where they're at. And then if there's some other things in my collection that you know that I've had, but when I show you guys my makeup collection you don't see anymore, I have decluttered those items. But I just thought I would go ahead and share this with you guys, because I know that some of you guys, because I know that some of you all would like to see what I am decluttering. And I think I'm gonna film my declutters like this, like a haul kind of style, like where I show you the products instead of being in the drawers decluttering. I might do that from time to time, but this time I'm just gonna do it where I'm showing you the products and telling you why I'm decluttering them. So the first thing that I am decluttering is this Confidence in a Cleanser Anti-Aging Armor like face cleanser, and my mom gave this to me because she said that this was too harsh for her, and this is also too harsh for me. Every time I use this, like, it irritates my eye area, which I guess I could probably I guess I could probably just use it to wash my face and not around my eye area, but I just feel like even when I would go to wash it off, it would run, you know, and would still irritate me. So I'm just not really into this. I would rather use my First Aid Beauty Pure Skin Cleanser than this. So I'm going to give this to somebody else to see if maybe it works for them, because it just does not work for me. Another skincare product that just did not work for me is this old Hinkerson, the Banana Bright Eye Cream. And I don't know if I pronounced that right, but I know a lot of people rave about this. A lot of people really like this, but like this Confidence in a Cleanser, every time I use this, it irritates my under eyes and I get a rash. So it's just whatever the ingredients are in this, my under eyes just do not like. So I'm also gonna give this to somebody else to try to see if it works for them. This Milani Prep and Bright Rose Face Oil, I'm also going to declutter this, because every time I would go to use this, it wouldn't necessarily make me get breakouts, but it would make me get like little bumps underneath my skin, like little whiteheads or something like that. So I just decided I'm not going to use this. I don't know if it's the oil or if it's the fragrance in here, because it smells like rose. I mean, I really wanted to like this because I love the packaging. I love so many Milani products, but this just didn't work out for my skin type. So yeah, my skin is very sensitive. Another product that I had to stop using because it also irritated my under eyes is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer, and I hate that I cannot use this anymore, because this is one of my favorite like everyday concealers. Like, I love the way it looks on my under eyes. It's not like a super full coverage concealer. It's more like a thin consistency, like it's more lightweight. But this used to be my go-to favorite concealer. I don't know if they changed the formula on this, or if my under eyes have just gotten sensitive to something in this concealer. Now, I know I could save this to spot conceal, but I have so many other concealers, like my Tarte Shape Tape and like my MAC Studio Finish, which is over there somewhere. My MAC Studio Finish concealer, which is what I would normally use to spot conceal blemishes, which, knock on wood, I haven't had too many blemishes lately. So those are kind of like all the things that have irritated my skin that I'm getting rid of because, you know, they just didn't work out for me. These next products that I'm getting rid of are things that I just don't tend to use, or they just didn't really work out for me. So the Milani Prime Light Face Primer. Now I know that I have mentioned this a few times, like I mentioned this in my Milani must-haves, and this is my favorite primer from Milani. But when I compare this to other primers in my makeup collection, I just never reach for this. Like, I would much rather use my Wet n Wild Photo Focus Dewy Primer, which is kind of the same concept, like it's an illuminating primer, or I would rather use one of my VDL primers or my Becca primer. So, you know, I would just rather reach for one of those when I want something to be illuminating than this. So I'm gonna gift this to somebody else. Maybe they would like to use it. Like, I might give this to my mom because I know she likes things like that. Maybe she'll enjoy it. And then another primer that I'm going to get rid of is this Maybelline Master Prime, the Hydrate Plus Smooth. And for me, this wasn't super hydrating. It wasn't anything spectacular. Like, I would rather use the Maybelline Master Prime, the Blur Plus Redness Control. I would much rather use this over this primer, or like my Hard Candy Hydrating Primer. I'm just gonna give that to somebody else. This Essence Luminous Matte Bronzing Powder, this is so light. Like, it is too light for me, and I'm pretty fair. I mean, I know I'm not the fairest of the fair, but it's just, it doesn't really show up on me very much, so I'm gonna give this to somebody else. Maybe they could use it. Okay, these Wet n Wild Mega Liners. Now, I love the formula of these liquid liners. What I do not like about these are their brushes. Like, the tips on these get so ragged so fast. Like, they are felt tip liners, and I don't know if you can see how that one's gotten ragged. So it makes it really difficult to do any sort of winged eyeliner and it be precise, because the tips always get messed up. So if Wet n Wild would just improve that with their liquid liners, I would absolutely love these, and they would be like one of my favorite liquid liners. But I'm just gonna get rid of these because I would much rather use my Physicians Formula eye booster pens, or like my CoverGirl Get in Line liquid liners. So I'm just gonna probably throw those out because I've had those for a while and they're kind of gross. I really wouldn't want somebody else using those since it's been, you know, around my eyes. Okay, this L'Oreal Shimmerista highlighting powder, and this is in the color Moonlight. This is one of those colored highlighting powders, like has a blue undertone, and I don't know, I never really use this. It's very like intense and super shimmery. It's just not a product that I would reach for. And if I wanted a blue primer, did I call this a primer? Highlight. If I want a blue highlight, I would much rather reach for the L'Oreal Lumi like pressed highlight in the color Ice, because it has a slight blue tint to it, but it's not too crazy where, you know, it wouldn't be something that I would wear. Now, I know I could save this for like, you know, a color to use on my eyelid or something like that, but I have so many palettes, it just doesn't make sense for me to save this, so I'm gonna declutter that. This Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter, I just hated this product. Like, whenever I put this on my brows and it dried, it would get flaky. Like, you know how some guys' hair gels, like once they put the hair gel in and then it dries, and then sometimes it would just get like, I don't know, crusty and flaky. That's what I feel like this brow gel does to my brows, my brow hairs. So I just never liked the way it looks. I mean, I know that some people really enjoy this, but it just did not work for me. So I'm gonna give this to somebody else to use. I only used it a few times, so it's basically brand new. Okay, 2 blushes that I'm gonna be decluttering. And I thought about holding on to this, but honestly, I have several blushes that are this kind of color, And I know that you guys can't really get these blushes anymore, like they were discontinued. And my mom is always on the hunt to find good cream blushes. So I'm just gonna give this to her because I know that she would use this. And I also have this VDL blush, which is really pretty. But once again, I have other blushes in my collection that are like this, and this isn't, I think this was like a limited edition product, and I would much rather give this blush to her because I know she would get a lot of use out of this. And I just have so many blushes, you know, I'm not gonna keep that. Okay, and then the last thing that, well, this isn't the last thing. The last thing before I get to eyeshadow palettes, this the L'Oreal Infallible Magic Pigment. I have this in, I don't remember what the other color is, but it's like the bronzy color, kind of like the shade that I have on my lids today. But this one is a different color, and this is in Sneak Peek. The other one that I have, let me just grab it because I can't remember the name. It's in a retro, which is, you know, like this bronzy color. Now, I love retro. I think it's really pretty and unique. Like, it has little tiny like sparkles in it. I don't really know how to explain the formula of this, but I really enjoy it. I like this one, but this color in Sneak Peek, it's not anything special. I didn't really like it very much, so I'm gonna be decluttering this. Okay, and then the last things that I'm gonna be decluttering from my collection are eyeshadow palettes. And I know that some of you guys may be a little sad that I'm getting rid of some of these palettes, but I just don't really use these anymore. And I would much rather give them to somebody else that I know that they are gonna use. So yeah. And in some ways, it's kind of hard for me to sort of depart from these because I've had these in my collection for a while, but it's just, I never reach for these anymore. I would rather use like my Wet n Wild eyeshadows or like my Makeup Revolution or just any of my other palettes over these. But the Maybelline, the nudes and the blushed nudes. And I know that I have included these in like Maybelline must-have videos and stuff like that. And I think from the brand Maybelline, these are good eyeshadow palettes. Like, they're not bad. It's just that I don't reach for these. So it's like, why keep this if I'm not gonna reach for these? So I'm gonna declutter these, give these to somebody else to use. There's some girls at my church that are younger and, you know, they don't have money to be going out and buying makeup all the time. So I would much rather give these to somebody else that I know are gonna use these. This Makeup Revolution Fiercest Fire palette. Now, I got this palette for free from Ulta whenever I ordered so much of Makeup Revolution stuff. I think one time they did a thing where it was like spend $15 and you would get this for free. And while I do like this palette, I have other palettes with these similar colors in here. And once again, I'd rather give this to somebody else that doesn't have as much makeup that, you know, could use this. So I'm gonna be decluttering this. Plus, I don't think this is a palette that you all can really get. It was kind of just like a limited edition thing. Okay, these next palettes, I feel like you guys are gonna be kind of sad about, but I'm sorry, I just don't reach for these. The ColourPop Perception Shayla x ColourPop. This is a pretty palette, and I do think it is a good palette if you are interested in buying this. Me, personally, I just don't reach for this because it doesn't have, like, I mean, I can make some complete looks with this, but I don't know. It's just, it doesn't have good transition shades in here for me. And while I do like some of these shimmery colors in here, I mean, I have similar colors like this in other palettes. So once again, I'd rather give this to somebody else to use, but it is a good eyeshadow palette. Like, it's not a bad palette. Like, actually, all these eyeshadow palettes that I am decluttering, they're not terrible palettes. They're just ones that I don't reach for. And so this next one is the ColourPop Fortune palette. And I don't know what it is about this one, but I'm just not drawn to this palette whatsoever. I think it's just because I have other warm toned eyeshadow palettes that I would rather use over this. So I'm just gonna be decluttering that. And then the last palette that I'm gonna be getting rid of. is the Makeup Revolution, the Emily Edit, the Once palette. And I know that some of you guys are probably really sad about this, and I'm sorry. And whenever I got this, like, I did want to support Emily. I do really like Emily. I think she's an awesome YouTuber. But with this palette, I just don't reach for this. Like, let me get it open. I just don't reach for these colors very often. And another thing too, like this palette, like it came broken. Whenever I ordered it from Ulta, it was also broken. But these are just not colors that I reach for too often. And I know that maybe some of the shades in here are kind of unique, but really in my collection, I probably have shades that are somewhat similar to these eyeshadows. And I kind of don't like how large, and I mean, I know like the Morphe palettes are just as big as this palette, but there's just something about this, probably because it's broken and because the shades are just not ones that I would gravitate towards a whole lot. I just don't reach for this. I know this is a really beautiful palette. I love the concept of it. I love her names for the shadows and everything. But I'd much rather give this to somebody else that will use it. So I know you guys are probably upset about that, but I'm gonna be decluttering that. So yeah, those are all of the makeup products that I'm gonna be decluttering. If you guys did enjoy this video and if you would like to see more declutters from me in the future, please like this, and please like this video so I know to film more of these. So yeah, I hope that you guys have a great day, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye-bye.